In this lesson, we're going to look at using layers in Adobe Animate. Now, we've come as far as we need to with the drawing tasks, and now we need to start looking at how to use layers so that we can create more complex drawings in total and more complex images. So in this lesson, we're going to look at how to work with layers. We're going to create 2 layers for our drawings. I'm just going to show you a few things of how they work, and then we're going to export our drawing as either a PNG or a JPEG. So the challenge for this is to trace and fill a car from a reference image. So let's get started. So here we are in Adobe Animate, and same process as always. We're going to click the HTML5 canvas button, and then I'm going to go straight away and save it. So let's go File, and let's go down to Save, and we're just going to call it Lesson 5, and we're going to call it car. Okay, so we've got Lesson 5 car.fla. Press Save. Now we've done that, we just need to go and get the reference image. So if you look on the Google Classroom, you will find the reference image of a car. I've already gone ahead of time and downloaded this and put it into my folder. So if you can pause the video now and just go and download the video, or download the image from Adobe Animate, and then come back. So next thing to do is to get this image that you've downloaded and put into your folder into Adobe Animate, and this is very, very simple. All you do is you click and you drag, and that will put it into Adobe Animate. So do that now, pause the video and do that now. The next bit we need to do is resize it, because it always comes in a bit too big. So how we do that is we use the free transform tool. So if you click on the free transform tool, you get these icons here. Now if I scale, you'll notice that I can change the proportion, and that's not really what I want. So instead of doing that, hold down Shift while you click, and you'll notice now that it constrains the proportion, so it's always the same size, so you don't lose the dimensions. And I'm going to leave it about there, so I'm going to let go of Shift, let go of the mouse, and then just put it into place. And I'm fairly happy with that. So I'm just going to say File, and then I'm just going to save my work again, just to make sure it's all good. So now we've got it saved, we can start doing some more stuff. The first thing is, let's look at the layers. So we've got something here called layer 1. It's not very descriptive. So what I tend to do is tell or label it to what's on that layer. So this particular one is car.jpg. Okay, so that tells me that this is the image. Okay, now I don't need to do anything more with this image. So the next thing I want to do is come across ever so slightly, and I want to lock the layer. Now locking the layer is very, very important, because if I start to draw on this layer without it locked, what happens is it goes behind the picture. So let me just show you that. If I just grab a pen tool and I just kind of click and I drag, and you'll notice it will start and you'll be able to see it, and then I'll go behind the picture, and then I'll double click to let go, and then let's go to the black arrow tool. Now what you'll notice is that line is gone behind the picture. So if I move it, it's still there, and you can see it's still there, but this is no good to us. If I start drawing all the shapes around this car on the same layer, I'm going to lose all of my work straight away. So you do have to be very aware of that, is that you need to lock the layers to make sure you don't draw anything else on them. So let's lock that. The other button next to it, so you get these little dots. If I show you that again, you get these little dots. So the first one is to lock it, the next one is to hide it. And sometimes when you want to see what you've been drawing and what you've been doing, you will need to hide this layer in order to do that. So if we unhide it for now, the next thing you're going to want to do is probably zoom into the area. So we can use the zoom tool for this, and you can just drag around it and it will make it as big as you want it to. You do need to zoom right in. If you get the zoom proportions wrong, you can always come up to the zoom element here and you can say fit to window or show all. I'm happy with this. I'm happy that it's locked. Now the next thing we need to do is create a layer. So on this layers icon, you have this little button here. So you can create a new layer, you can create a new folder, which we don't want to do, or you can delete the layer. So for now, let's just create a new layer. Now what you'll notice is that layer 2 has gone on top. So let's call this my trace. My tracing of a car. Make it as descriptive as you can so it makes sense to you, okay? So now let's just do a little bit of drawing with this pen tool again. Let's just make sure that when I deselect it, it stays on top and that I'm happy. Now, when I hide the car underneath, you should see that the car stays in one place. Sorry, the car stays in one place and my drawing stays in one place and the car gets hidden. So there we go. That's exactly what we want. So we're on this layer, and you can also make sure you're selecting the right layer, because if I've got this layer selected and I start drawing, I will draw on this layer. So just make sure you're on this layer. So pause the video now and just make sure you set up those two layers correctly. So the bottom layer, make sure it's got the car. Now if you need to change the layers, you can always drag it up or down like so, and then drag it down like so, okay? So set them up now, pause the video and then come back. So here we are then, we're going to start tracing around the car, and the mission for this particular drawing is you are going to trace every element of this car using the pen tool, so just using the pen tool. Once you finish tracing, then you can use the bucket tool, just like we did in a previous lesson, to fill in all the elements as well. You can add as much detail as you want. It is quite complex, and it will take quite a lot of skill to do this. Remember, you can still zoom in if you need to. I kind of like to see it at this proportion first. So let me get started and then we'll come back to it. So the first thing I like to do is do the whole body shape first. And the wheels are separate, so I tend to not draw them at the same time. And if I was being really kind of pedantic about it, the wheels would go on a different layer so I could animate them later. I'm not worried about that now, but just keep that in mind. So let's just click. And at the moment, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to create straight lines. And the first thing you'll say to me is, wow, that's really bad. That's not the shape you want at all. But remember, with the pen tool, you can come back later and you can actually edit all of these lines. Okay. So this makes it very, very, very cool and very, very easy to kind of get the outline of our shape. So I don't want the bumper. The bumper's a separate bit. And then we will let go once it fills the shape. So now what we can do is we can hold this button down and go to the convert tool, and then we can start converting these. So I start with this one here, I click and drag, and I'm just looking at the left hand side at the moment. So look at the left hand side and I've got that right. Now I can grab this handle and I can get this one right. So if I pull it right out, and you'll notice that it's going there. I'm deliberately using a red line for my pen, just purely so I can see exactly what I'm doing. Let's move on. I'm fairly happy with this dot. So let's move on to this dot. This is going to be slightly more complex. Once again, I'm looking at the left hand side, and I've adjusted the left hand, so the right hand's not right. It's not correct. But now, when I pull it in like that, it's better. I'm happy with the point there, but we can still do this one here. So let's pull that one out again. Once again, looking at the left hand side. Now this one might cause a bit of issue because it's overlapping with another one. So if I just Control Z this, and let's just zoom into that area so I can actually see what I've got here, because you do need to be very, very precise about this. And you can see that it's really overlapping it massively, and that's not what we want. So let's just see if we can fix that. And it's this one here that's causing the problem. So I might just have to delete this one and consider it part of the bumper. So let's just get rid of that dot there using the delete tool. And this is the process you're going to have to use. And if I want to add this bit in, I can then come back in to the pen tool. And if I hover over the line, see where it says plus, I can then just draw in the extra bit that I need, and then just make it. So press escape and then do it again. And then press the next bit in, press escape. So remember to use the escape button. Now something went wrong above that. Let's just zoom back out using the fit to window, and we have lost this bit here. So I think I'm going to use this dot here this time. So let's just zoom back into this and let's get that bit right now. Now I'm just going to do this last one, and then you guys can take over and get this whole shape done. Let me just drag that out. Let's do the right one this time, because that's the one causing me the problems. And then let's just pull that one in. Now, once you've done all of the detail, let's zoom back in. Once you've done all of the detail, and you've done all of the windows and all the bits and pieces, then you can come in to your paint bucket tool, which is this one here, and then you can fill all of the different shapes, and you can make it look nicer. Obviously nicer than what that is, because I haven't obviously put all the details in yet. Okay. So once you've finished that, I would like you to upload this image as a PNG or JPEG. So you can go to File, you can scroll all the way down to Export, and then you can say Export Image, and then finally make sure you set it up properly here. So let's just do that now quickly. So I'm going to save it as a JPEG high, and I'm going to press Save. Once I press Save, I'm going to call it Car 5. Make sure it goes in the right folder, which is with all my other ones. Press Save. And you are done. When you do export your image though, make sure you hide the car, because if you show the car, you won't get the full marks for it. So just make sure you use the eyedropper tool and just hide the car, just so you can see your own drawing. So get that completed, get it uploaded, and I'll see you in the next lesson.